Let me guess, you have hundreds of tabs open, literally and mentally. The hum of stimulation, ideas, sensations, emotions, tasks is constant. And your body feels it. The racing thoughts, the restless leg, the urge to move or leave. But this is not a failure to focus. It is just your creative brain is overwhelmed by the unfiltered input. When we try to motivate ourselves to become a better person and to improve our life, to change the way we think or the way we do certain things, we tend to jump for the shiny objects and begin to buy certain things or consume different content in hopes that we will improve our lives. But in the end, we might feel stuck and feel like we are not moving anywhere. And before you think, you are not lost. You just have to declutter what is inside and outside. And burnout is usually not coming from working too hard, but from the fact that we don't see the way out. And accumulating the shiny objects, ideas, resources, or possessions, all can give us this false sense of momentum. But when it's no space to follow through, all that beauty can become a noise. Another layer of guilt, another reason to feel behind. And as a leader, it's your mission to make a positive difference in people's life, right? But you also want to make your business joyful, profitable, and scalable in the same time. So the problem isn't a lack of ideas. The problem is that you are moving into too many directions at once. You start an exciting project, you feel the spark, but they fizzle out halfway through. And when everything feels so messy and scattered, pause for a moment and ask yourself, what's really behind the need to hold on to all these things? What are they trying to prove or protect? And which one no longer supports the person you are becoming? So first, let's reflect on our environment, because our space influences our mood and creativity more than when we want to admit. And believe it or not, everything what we own, whether it's something what we value or a clutter what we want to get rid of, tells a story. The clutter in our life isn't just a collection of memories or random junks what we bought at the flea market. It also represents a barrier between us and the underlying issues what we have to face and address. And for many people, the clutter can act as a protecting shield against our emotional pain, against our insecurities, or against that void what we might feel in our lives. But you can change that narrative by asking yourself a simple question. What would your staff say about you? You know, that clothes in the closet, or that random junk in your garage, or that items what you throw into the basement and pretend that they don't exist. And these innocent questions sometimes quite hard to be answered. And there is a difference between knowing enough and knowing everything to make a decision. And this is a very common road many people find themselves traveling down, regardless if they feel overwhelmed or not. And the word enough can fall anywhere in that scale, and depending on the context for each of us. The important thing to remember here is that there is a fundamental difference between valid doubt and concerns about a particular course of action what we want to take, and between using this doubt as an excuse to stay exactly where we are in life and just avoiding change altogether. And if you are frustrated by the lack of progress that you are making, it might be tempting to rush things, but you are just unintentionally putting an extra pressure on yourself. And to ease the process, there are few steps what you can take to make it a bit easier. So first, you can start with the smallest effort what you can bring bigger impacts. So this can be starting with your computer desk, which probably covered by thousands of notes what you might want to declutter a bit. The other thing is what you can do is letting things go slowly, because you probably will feel sense of guilt or nostalgia, and that's normal. And it's better if you let yourself feel those things without letting them to stop you. And assumes most of your clutters are notes or books everywhere. So let's now look at your idea clutters. You know, all these ideas with full of potential. But right now you are maxed out and you have more ideas than capacity to bring them to life. And underneath that buzz of inspiration, you might feel that quiet sense of not knowing what to do next. And you don't want to make a decision because what if you make a wrong choice? But then I ask you this: what if clarity does not come from cutting things out, but from seeing how these things, what is interesting to you, can echo each other? So instead of focusing on one thing from the many, you shape a container where your interest can support a bigger story. Ideas can live together instead of competing for space, because coherence comes from how you hold it. And that is your compass, a mix of being joyful and useful. You may have heard of ikigai, a Japanese concept of finding your purpose. Ikigai is an intersection of four things: what you love, what you're good at, what your world needs, and what can you be paid for. But when you feel overwhelmed or burned out, this concept can even feel too abstract. So we're going to simplify it with a simple exercise. So here is what you're gonna do. Either you're gonna take one piece of paper, you will fold it into halves and then halves again and then halves again until you will have 16 rectangles what you can cut out. Alternatively, you might want to use some sticky notes, preferably in 4 different colors, or you might opt to using Miro on your computer. It's up to you. So you will create 16 prompts grouped into fours. Each set of 4 cards will come from questions like 4 projects you would love to finish, 4 best version of yourself you would love to become, 4 habits you want to build, 4 things that lights you up. Make your own version, but write from hearts. There are no shoots here. And once you've written out all your cards, let's see which of these cards naturally group together and which ones share energy, themes, desires. Then select which one are bringing you joy, have revenue sources with potential to make an impact that are scalable. Now, pick one answer from each group that resonates most right now, and you will end up with 4 core truths or longings. And then you can sit down with your team and work out the next steps together. This exercise will give you the compass for your next season, without guilt, without noise. So try to prioritize what matters you the most at this stage of your life. Because as Oprah Winfrey says, you can have it all, but you can't have it all at once. I hope these tips will lighten the weights. Let me know in the comments how it goes, and see you in the next video.